Hello. So I'm feeling a little spicy today. So I got some really good questions revolving around whether or not to accept a contract with group practice, and also a question about how to create a contract as somebody who wants to have a group practice. So because I'm feeling a little spicy, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant about group practice in general while answering these questions. I'd like to thank Therapy Notes for sponsoring Ask Allison, and hopefully this rant won't be offensive to anybody. But you can, if you have a group practice, use Therapy Notes for that. Okay, so one of the questions was, is it unreasonable to want a written contract and a written offer rather than just a verbal agreement for group practice? I think that, and I'll get into this in a little bit more in my rant, you need to have a written offer, you need to have a contract, you need to have everything written down, everything that's their responsibility, your responsibility, what you're going to get paid, when you're going to get paid, all of those things need to be on paper. This is a legitimate job that they are offering and that you are taking. So it needs to be legally handled properly. Well, I'll go ahead and rant. So I think that what happens is so many successful solo practitioners see group practice as the next logical step. They've got all these referrals that they can't take. Why not give it to somebody that they know does good work and support that person with a job and take the cut that makes sense for them for overhead in supporting that person. And I will say, for anybody who has been a practitioner at a group practice, the overhead is a lot. It is not a small amount. So sometimes people get upset about a percentage that a group practice owner is taking, and I think that there are percentages to get upset about, but I think the typical range of 30, 40, even up to 50% in some areas makes sense. But if they're taking you're getting paid those things, not they're getting paid those things. Wait, 30, 40, 50. The group practice owner. Here we go, brain. Okay. What these solo practitioners often don't realize when they're making this transition is that there are a multitude of steps and skills that are necessary to be a legit, legal, ethical group practice. I would say probably a large percentage of the people who are followers of abundance practice building have been in a really crappy group practice before. I'm going to raise my hand there. We had to sue our person to get paid. So there are a lot of bad, shady group practices out there that I don't think started off wanting to be bad and shady. I think that they started off without a solid business structure, and the expenses mount because group practices are really expensive to run, and then Band-Aids get put on stuff left and right instead of having a solid foundation from which to build on. There are small details like getting a group NPI number. There are big deal kind of setup details like making sure that your payroll is set up properly and that you're paying into it every time you pay your person so that you don't get huge fees from the IRS and from your state because you didn't pay those every other week all along. There needs to be an offer letter, a contract. It is my understanding and my belief that all group practices should operate with W-2 employees instead of contractors. Contractors are a very popular way to do it because then the owners don't have to pay payroll taxes. But when you look at the IRS description of a W-2 versus a 1099, there is a big difference. And what it speaks to, particularly if there's a supervisee involved, is like it needs to be a W-2. So you should have these things. And if you're wanting to start a group practice, I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. Everything I know about group practice, everything that I learned to set mine up, I learned from the Group Practice Exchange. I will put that in the resources link. Maureen Werbach is amazing. She is no fluff. She tells you what you need to know. She has the Exchange, which is a low-cost membership site that you should absolutely check out because I want you to set up your group practice right. Another thing that we don't do well often when we're solo practitioners transitioning into group practice is get some actual management training. We're great with people, right? Like most of us are. That's part of what makes us therapists is we like people and we tend to be good with them, but that does not mean you're a great manager and you are going to be managing people, and that takes your time, it takes your energy, it takes a lot, and you need to do it well. So you also can get that training there, and also through Zoe Holguin, who does, like a therapist CEO. I'll put her in the resources also. Okay, I'm going to dial it back a little. So another person asked, is it reasonable to join a group practice when I'm the only one that's going to be in my state? I'll be giving a percentage of what the clients pay to the owner. I'll also be paying my own rent, and I'll also be paying out of pocket for supervision. For me, that's a hard no. And I'm guessing there's probably some speculation that that would be my answer in sending me that question. Why? What would be the point? How are they going to get you? Are they clear about how they're going to get you referrals from a different state? I just don't see what's in it for you. I don't see the benefit for you at all. And I would so much rather, if you want a group practice lifestyle where you go in, you do your client stuff, you leave, you don't work 40 hours a week, that kind of thing, then I would find a local group practice, personally, who is set up well. If ultimately your goal is private practice, I mean, depending on your state license, it sounds like if you're paying for supervision, you may be not fully licensed quite yet, or maybe you just take supervision, I don't know. But if you're not fully licensed, I would check with your state and your licensing board to see if you can have a private practice at this stage. And maybe then you're just paying out of pocket for your supervision and your rent and not overhead when you don't really know what it's going for. Yeah. So another person asked, can I create my own contract as a group practice owner, or should I have a lawyer? I think have a lawyer. Well, first go to Maureen Werbach. She's got all the forms you need, and then have a lawyer look at it. And I know that we want to avoid lawyers, they're expensive, and I get that, but there is so much more to setting up a group practice than just giving somebody a paycheck for a particular percentage every other week or once a month. And I didn't realize how much was in that, how many more steps were involved. And I'm really grateful for Maureen and the Group Practice Exchange. I'm not paid in any way, shape, or form for talking about the Group Practice Exchange. I just am really, really grateful for what I've learned through them. So I will put that out there. I am happy for you guys to go check out Maureen and ask questions, because I don't know all the answers to group practice. I just know that I've seen so many set up poorly. I've been a clinician at one that was set up really poorly. And when I was setting mine up, I wanted to do it the right way. And I wanted my employee to be able to say that she was working at a place that valued her. And I wanted to show her that I was valuing her by paying her well, by paying the payroll taxes and having her as a W-2 employee, by supporting her with supervision and being available for her when she needed it, and having all of the legal, ethical structure that I believe is necessary to do this the right way. Okay, that was my rant. Thanks for hanging in there with me.